This is the ultimate Cypriot dessert. What is it? Essentially, it is a cornstarch pack made with rose water and sometimes with sugar, served with rose cordial, ice cold water and ice cubes, and it sometimes is being served with rose sorbet or rose ice cream. Doesn't that sound delightful? If you are in Protaras or Ayia Napa area and you want to try Mahalepi, then look no further than the kafeneio near Vizakia or Vizakia beach. Hashtag not an ad, just a fan. They serve one of the best Mahalepis in the entire island. And yeah, I know that this beach is called Vizakia or Vizakia and it means breasts, but it was not me who named this beach. It's because of these two little bays right here. Supposedly from the satellite image they look like little breasts, but I'll leave it up to you to decide. Warning, the kafeneio actually is quite pricey and they don't serve espresso based drinks, only frappe and Cypriot coffee. So have that in mind if you are a coffee nerd. And this is the vibe here. Yeah, baby. Just look at it, Mahalepi with the ice cream. It looks delightful, doesn't it? Let's continue with the awkward eating positions. Let's have a little bite of the Mahalepi first. Waba, waba, waba. So refreshing. This is my brother's plate. And this is mine. But yeah, you see them before and after, right? And of course you need to have a little sip of frappe. This is decaf, by the way. I prepared this whole shtick that even though we think Mahalepi is old and traditional, actually it's quite modern, and my arguments to support this would have been these. Cornstarch was invented somewhere in the mid-19th century and it was mass-produced after the 20th century. And after doing some research on Cypriot newspapers, I found out that the earliest mention of it is in 1907. And I would have stopped there and convince you that Mahalepi is actually quite modern, but then I thought of something, that other starches have been used throughout the world. And I did some digging and I found out that in the Cyprus Food Museum there is an interview about Mahalepi, and this old lady said that they used to use rice starch. It made me wonder, do you think Mahalepi is actually older than what I think? And I did some research and I found out that in the Roman times, people ate wheat starch. Where did I find this? In Pliny the Elder. And the word he uses for it is similar to what we call it today, amylon, which is the general word for all the starches in the Greek language. Isn't that fascinating? What I forgot to mention was that Cyprus, at the time when Pliny wrote this, was part of the Roman Empire and also a part of the Greek-speaking world. And if in Chios and in Crete they made wheat specifically for amylon, then who's to say that Cyprus also didn't make some? But these are just my assumptions, of course. The procedure of making it was very similar, laying it on tiles out in the sun until it dried out. So they made wheat packs. And do you think they flavored it with some syrups or with some honey and they made a proto-Mahalepi? I could see that happening. So, knowing that most rose varieties came to Europe after the 13th century, and in fact, a lot of them even after the 18th century, I tried to imagine a version of Mahalepi without the rose flavor. And in that way, I experimented with the recipe and made it into a lemon squash Mahalepi for those who detest the flavor of rose. And here you go. So the recipe is actually quite simple. you dilute 15 grams of cornstarch in 500 ml of liquid. So make your lemonade squash as thick as you want and then add the preferred amount of water and maybe the rose water to reach 500 ml. And then while it is cold, stir it all together and then bring the pot to a boil. Keep stirring, otherwise it will catch on the bottom. So therefore continue stirring until you get to this consistency. And then pour it in this glass container and let it cool a little bit before you put it in the fridge for a couple of hours. Then cut it into small cubes and serve it with ice cream and some more lemonade, as sweet as you like it. The moment of truth has arrived. Squash lemonade mahalepi with lemon sorbet and ice cubes in a bath of lemonade. Without wanting to spill, just look at it and let's give it a try. Slippery. Ooh. Actually, this is so good. I'm not gonna lie, I added a bit of lemon zest in the mix and by itself it tasted a bit bitter, but all these things together actually taste great. Let me have some more just to be sure. That is great. Why didn't people actually think of this before? This works. Try it out. What I got from experimenting with this recipe is that basically you can make mahalepi out of anything as long as you have the correct syrup, squash, cordial of your choice. And I did even more experimenting. Just look at this. Again, the same core recipe, 15 grams of cornstarch diluted in a mixture of part Coke Zero, part water, and then while it's still cold, stir it, then boil it, and then cool it down and cut it into little squares and serve it in your bowl with ice cubes and some more Coke Zero. Listen to this ASMR. Nice. Ready to try my monstrous concoction here. Look at it. Okay. A Coke Zero without caffeine mahalepi. Cheers. There are some bitter notes in the concentrated Coke in the mahalepi. So next time maybe I would just omit completely the Coke in the mahalepi and just add lemon and a lot of sugar and use the Coke as the soup ingredient, you know? But you know what? If you love Coke, this is great. That's the stuff. I was also gonna make another one infused with coffee and served with coffee ice cream. What do you think? Does that sound a good idea? Let me know down in the comments if you want me to make it. And foodies, what do you think? Would you ever try mahalepi, the traditional one? Or will you experiment and make your own mahalepi? Have you already tried it? Please let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please watch more of my videos and help out this channel. Until the next time, bye!